Some mistakes have been made which have, in the long run, put us in a weaker position than we were 8 years ago. And I don't think anyone did this on purpose. I think everyone had the best of intentions. But what are the mistakes that we made, and how can we fix them so we can have a stronger Democratic Party going into the next 4 years?
I think there's a lot more the DNC can do specifically around supporting Democratic small businesses first, and then moving forward with an economic platform that can help grow small businesses in Main Street America, which is incredibly important for rural communities like Idaho. I really am excited about the opportunity that we have in front of us. And I think that we would be remiss in all of the fear that is out there of what could happen to not remind ourselves how powerful we are, and that we have this opportunity to really hit the reset on the Democratic Party.
When was the last time we were in the wilderness? It was in 2004. I remember because I worked on Inez Tenenbaum's Senate race, and we lost all of the Senate races in the South that year. Barack Obama was the only one of the only races that we won that year. And so it was complete Republican control. They controlled everything. And then something changed in 2006. That's when Howard Dean came into the DNC, worked with state parties, and enacted the 50-state strategy. We won the House, we won the Senate. We won in states that we never thought we would win on, that weren't on Rahm Emanuel's list. We won in Kansas with Nancy Borda. And then what did we do? In 2008, we also won the White House. Again, with a 50-state strategy, strengthening all of the state parties and putting Barack Obama's great operation on top of that. And then we did something. We shifted from being this Democratic National Committee to becoming a Democratic National Presidential Committee, where all we focused on was the presidency and nobody else. It was great that we had complete control in Washington, D.C., but let me tell you, the people in South Carolina were still suffering because we had a Republican governor and a Republican legislature. There are 300,000 people who still don't have health care in South Carolina because we took our eye off the ball. We cannot leave any Democrat or Democratic Party behind. We have to focus and energize and build a capacity in every state party in this nation. States of New Jersey, Maryland, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, what do they all have in common? Republican governors. They're blue states with Republican governors. That's because Republicans don't cede any territory to us. We have to stop doing that to ourselves. We have to be about all of the states and not just a few.
Thank you. We didn't communicate our values to people. When Donald Trump says, I'm going to bring those coal jobs back, we know that's a lie, but people understand that he feels their pain. And our response was, vote for us because he's crazy. I'll stipulate to that, but that's not a message. And so we've got to move forward. We've got to make sure, as Jamie mentioned, that we get back to that strategy. But you know what, folks? Here are some of the things that I've seen in my listening that we're doing that we got to take to scale. We've got to do more candidate training as part of the core mission of the DNC, like they're doing in New Jersey, where they have a program that helps operatives, and it's going very well. And we have to keep doing that. We have to totally reorient our approach to voter protection and empowerment.
We have to have a DNC leader who is willing to speak truth to power and say very specifically, I acknowledge the wounds of Bernie Sanders supporters who feel that they were left out of this election unfairly. And I also acknowledge the wounds of Hillary Clinton supporters who feel that sexism and misogyny has been too rampant in our party and in the media and how she was treated. And we have to have a leader who will speak truth to power to this institution of the Democratic Party and say we ourselves have sexism and racism and bigotry within our own ranks, and that we have too much complexity. So to Andrew, your question, the Obama years were great in lifting us out of recession, but they decimated the DNC. The Clinton campaign treated this institution with disrespect. And so we need a leader who is going to speak truth to power.
So I'm going to take the gloves off a little bit. You talked about truth to power. I was the one that started that in Houston. You want to talk about telling people that the DNC is the only people who get to decide the fate and future of millions of Americans. I believe you said each of you get to carry the weight and burden of 150,000 lives. That is an awesome responsibility. And it's one that goes and alludes to the superdelegates. Let's take that word, for example, superdelegates. It is greater than a regular delegate. That means that those superdelegates, I believe it was around 500 of them, had the same weight as 25% of the entire voting base. Millions of votes. That is undemocratic. You want to talk about truth to power? I am the only candidate at this table who has sworn to not take corporate and lobbyist money. That is not the way we do business in the Democratic Party. You want to talk about more truth to power? We need open primaries. We need open debates. We need to get rid of exclusivity. I've been hashing off every time somebody at this table has borrowed from my Houston and my Detroit and my Phoenix remarks and my interviews. Tom, I think, has adopted my policies. You want to talk about leadership? That is leadership, leading by example. We have been hurting as a country. Bernie-crats, millennials, progressives, conservatives, libertarians. We have been at war with each other, and we've been hurting for decades, and we've been waiting for a person to step up and say, enough is enough. We are Americans. We are Americans first and foremost. We need to talk. We need to talk with each other. We need to compromise. That is politics. And until we do that, none of these plans, none of these people, none of these things we're trying to do will work.
The question was, what is the Democratic Party going to do about small business, and how are we going to better connect? Here's a solution that I just thought of. Earlier today, you heard from Senator Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire, the only Democrat to defeat a Republican U.S. Senator in a purple state, by the way. But let me tell you, $75 million was spent on her campaign in the state of New Hampshire. 75 million, let me repeat that one more, $75 million. Nearly 95% of it went to the international or national corporate media. What if we had taken 10 million of that and hired 100 full-time workers at $50,000 a year for 2 years to work the organization? That's 10 million. Give me the 10 million, and I will show you Democratic victories in every single community.
I don't think any of us can sit here and pretend that the status quo is okay or that everything went along just fine. We got to learn from the after-action report, but we've also got to move forward. If the outcome of this DNC chair race is that half the party feels like it's just been sent packing, we're going to be that much further on a back foot dealing with the real opposition, which is Trump and the Republican opposition, Congress. Now, everybody's got their theory of what happened, and an election this close, everybody's probably right.
I think what's wrong is we stop telling the American people that we are fighting for them every single day. We stop telling working people who work hard every day that the Democratic Party is all about them. And let me tell you, small business people are working people. You know, let me tell you, 56% of all Americans have less than $1,000 in the bank. Many of those people might have been former union members or current union members who said, you know, I'm gonna start a hustle on the side. I'm gonna get a business going. And you know what? We have got to understand that small business has got to be part of our constituency. We cannot let Republicans say they're the pro-business party. We've got to be the pro-business party, where we say we are the ones who are protecting our people from monopoly. We're protecting them from, look, if you go down to Louisiana where Karen is from, is a shrimping business not a small business? Is a oyster bed not a small business? These are small businesses, and we have got to set up a small business council. We have got to organize among small business people. We have got to get small business people understanding that we are going to be their advocates fighting for them every day.